Some former Auburn stars gave us a little bit of a glimpse of what the future could hold for the Auburn Tigers.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first or second listen every single day. This is a happy hour edition of the show. Zach Blackerby, Darrell, Dapprich here with you. We just got back to the hotel here in Mobile from the first practice, and they give the media 10 minutes or so to kind of secure players and talk to them. Darrell, we're gonna play just a few minutes here of a conversation we had with former Auburn edge Jalen McLeod, as well as former Auburn linebacker Eugene Asante. All right, we're here at the Senior Bowl. Zach Blackerby, Locked On Auburn, of course. Eugene Asante, Jalen McLeod. How do you feel like today went, man?
It was good. A lot of coaching points. You got tomorrow. I got to get better. But everything was a learning experience. Everything you got to get better. You get chuck at it.
Yeah. What about you?
I felt like it was a great first day. I came out, I competed, show the scouts what I can do. And, every single day it's a continuous process of trying to grow and get better as a football player. And just represent Auburn in the right way.
Has it hit you guys yet that, all right, y'all had a great run at Auburn and now you're kind of preparing for this next stage of your career?
Yeah, it said the last 2 days, just being around everybody, being around all this talent and competing. All right, I'm embracing the moment right now.
Yeah. Has it hit you yet?
It took me a little while. I was back at Auburn trying to get adjusted, just still working out and stuff. But, like I said, just coming back and, just representing Auburn the right way.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that you're kind of leaving and passing the torch to. A lot of young linebackers, young edge guys behind y'all. Who do you kind of think, okay, they're going to take that next step this year?
Yeah, in my linebacker room, I'm so proud of the way that they've been working. DJ Barber, DeMarcus Riddick, Robert Woodyard is somebody that's going to be a veteran leader in that room. And, I'm just excited to see how they put everything on the field. And I know they got some new recruits there. They're going to do great things. And, they got a great leader in Coach Durkin who's going to lead them in the right direction.
Yeah, it seems like Kieron's going to take over the role that you're leaving. Who else is going to kind of step up, you think, to help him?
You got Keldrick and you got Jamonte. Jamonte came coming off the injury. He looking to work. He a workhorse. And then you got all the edges coming in, fast-style recruits. So they all ready to work, and they all looking up to Keldrick and Kieron right now, and they leading in the right direction.
So it seems like you guys were asked to do a little bit different stuff today that you didn't really do as much at Auburn. DJ Durkin's system help you guys with that, just kind of asking y'all to be a little bit more versatile?
Yes, definitely. You got a lot of plays where I was stacked back, a lot of plays when I'm 3-4, a lot of plays with my hand in the dirt, and it gave us a versatility and an edge to boost our draft stock. The scouts want to see this more now because I showed it on film, so it helped me with my stock.
Yeah. What about your versatility, Eugene?
I think, being in Coach Durkin's system, there's so many things that he asks his linebackers to do, whether it's a blitzing linebacker, whether it's in coverage, whether it's being stout in the run game. So I feel like just being in that system prepared us for this moment. They're going to do a great job in coaching us and getting us all the details of our position. So when we come in front of these NFL scouts, we're already ready and equipped with all the tools to be successful.
Was it weird seeing 27 on the other side?
No, not at all. I compete against him at practice every day,
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
I guess y'all get a good look in on him?
I actually was going to have a collision with him, but we were in the walkthrough period. And
yeah,
it was a walkthrough period. We were supposed to walk through, and he was running full speed. So I was like, I kind of pulled up a little bit. So we should have got a collision today, but we didn't. We're going to get it in the scrimmage.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Awesome stuff from Eugene and from Jalen McLeod. To me, the most interesting thing that they said, Darrell, was when we asked Eugene Asante who's the next guy up, what was the first name out of his mouth? It was DJ Barber.
DJ Barber, which
Yeah.
I loved hearing. That was a very pleasant surprise. I also liked hearing Robert Woodyard. I've been wanting to hear that name for a couple years. I'm glad that there's an emergence with him as well, that those are going to be two guys. But the DJ Barber one really excited me because it was unexpected to me.
Yeah. And I mean, anytime you hear young Auburn linebacker, your brain instantly goes to DeMarcus Riddick, which he's worthy of that. I'm not saying that it shouldn't. But I think DJ Barber taking that next step is the best case scenario for Auburn this spring when it comes to that room.
I remember when that signing class came through, a couple of different people told me, said, don't sleep on DJ Barber. Riddick's going to get all the publicity, but DJ Barber is going to be a dog, and he's going to be a really good linebacker. Don't sleep on him. And it seems to be that Eugene Asante is kind of replicating that.
Yeah, I think so. DJ Barber had an incredible state championship game.
He really did.
Yeah.
He really did.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of solidified it. And then I thought we'd see a little bit more of him, especially with how many linebackers Auburn played at different points last year. And I kind of wonder if like Fanaje Gote took some of his snaps because he was kind of that shooting from the hip fifth linebacker. And I kind of wonder if that hadn't have happened, if they hadn't gotten him so late in the process, would that have opened the door for DJ, or would they have just kind of made sure he redshirted anyway?
No, I definitely think Gote took some of his snaps, and I think that he was probably told, Barber was, just be patient. Your opportunity is going to be next year, and who better to bring him along than DJ Durkin, who really is a linebacker guru.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a good track record so far. There's no question about it. And then, obviously, one of the most important positions in all of football is that edge rusher, the ability to rush the passer. I thought the first name out of J-Mac's mouth was interesting too. A little more expected, but let's jump into that in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown or calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss when you talk about Super Bowl 40 or 59, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action with live betting all game long, and you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds. And Darrell, we've talked about this already. There is a prop bet now for if Auburn will go undefeated in SEC playing basketball, which I love that that's even an option. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's over at FanDuel.com. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first or second listen, as this is a bonus edition of the show here, recapping kind of what we saw the first day of Senior Bowl practices, or I guess what we experienced. So talking to Jalen McLeod, he mentioned the importance of Jamonte Waller and his return from that injury that he had. I believe it was a foot injury that he suffered. Surely, there's a lot of names he could have said, I think, with this. And I phrased the question for him to not say Kieron, because we all know that Kieron is the answer as far as who's filling that space. But Jamonte Waller having the respect of Eugene Asante, I think, is a good thing.
I really do. And I think you even kind of led that question with saying other than Kieron Crawford, who, and he mentioned Waller, and then he mentioned Falk and Crawford being very crucial in that room to be leaders and to step up for the young guys. So, again, pleasant surprise that he mentioned Jamonte Waller. If he gets on the field and gets significant snaps and makes an impact with what Auburn has coming back and the transfer from Sam Houston State that's coming into play edge as well, I just think that that's going to be a very dynamic room, and it gives you some depth. You know it. I know it. Rushing the passer is so crucial in this league. And with the defensive backs that Auburn has, if you can get pressure without bringing safeties and having to leave field, open grass on the field, that secondary is going to eat.
I think you're right.
And so just getting natural pass rush, getting push, that's where the defensive line is going to come in. We'll have to see how that goes. But edge is so important, and rushing the passer in the SEC is so important.
Mm-hmm. It's also interesting that they refer to the ends and the edges is the same. The players tend to do that.
Yeah.
It's labeled something different schematically, but when they do indie drills, it's the strong side ends. Your Amaris Williams, your Keldrick Falks are also there with, the Kieron Crawfords. No mention of Joe Phillips. I thought that was interesting. And, he's got a million things going on in his mind. I don't think it means something if he left somebody out, but I was kind of hoping he was going to, I thought one of them would say something about Joe Phillips.
Yeah, I think that I remember Marcus Harris last year mentioning a couple guys specifically when you asked the same question about who's going to take up the mantle and who's going to fill your spot.
He said Malik Blockton.
And he said Malik Blockton right away.
Right.
And, of course, they're brothers, though, aren't they? So, that didn't shock me, but he was right. So you're hoping that when they give you these little tidbits and these little clues,
let's listen.
You peel back the curtain on what's going to happen next year.
Yeah. For folks who care about what the former Auburn guys did in the first Senior Bowl practice, I thought Jarquez Hunter looked physical. They ran some screen stuff to him, as well as just kind of using him all throughout the running game. And it seemed like he had good pad level. It seemed like he was physical at the point of attack. This is a loaded running back class, so I'm curious to see if Jarquez Hunter wins some teams over or maybe moves up some in the running back rankings by different teams and draft analysts. To me, I thought he looked good today.
Yeah, in practice, in these types of practices, the only way you kind of recognize somebody or notice somebody is when they do something bad. I mean, it's just unfortunate. They drop a ball, if they overthrow receivers consistently. Jarquez Hunter, I counted, had 9 targets, and he caught 8 of them. The one he didn't catch was sailed over his head from another quarterback in state.
Who threw it?
Jalen Milroe.
Oh.
But everything that was close to him and in his pads and he was sticky hands. I mean, they were running this particular route with him.
Well, speaking of hands, who has small hands?
Kenny Pickett. So look, let me tell you about this route. This is important. Jarquez Hunter was running a route I've never seen him run before. It was a flare route, but it was a traditional out to the sideline that you see receivers run.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to put the ball right there, and the defensive back was right on him, and he made a catch every time. So I was very impressed with that.
Okay, sure.
Of course, it's practice, like Jim Morris says. But he caught the ball. When I saw other running backs, the kid from SMU had more drops. I mean, a lot of drops. He ran the ball hard, but he had a lot of drops. So I was impressed with Jarquez's hands.
Yeah. I guess the other big takeaway, I think Eugene Asante did what you expected. They had him lined up and doing some special teams early on, kind of through the walkthrough portions, which we've talked to a few folks down here. Like, if Eugene's going to make it, he's going to have to play special teams his first few years in the league. I don't think that's surprising anybody. But what did surprise me is Jalen McLeod, I think exclusively. I didn't see him anywhere but off-ball linebacker, which I thought was a little surprising, a little interesting. And I wouldn't have guessed that because I do think he's a solid pass rusher. The way that the Senior Bowl staffs use players is they take recommendations. We saw this a few years ago with Roger McCreary when he played slot corner at the Senior Bowl, and he didn't really do that a ton at Auburn. That wasn't what made him such a great corner at Auburn. He played a lot of outside. But the NFL saw him as that, and so that's where they put him. I'm just a little surprised the NFL sees Jalen McLeod as like off-ball linebacker. I don't know if I fully agree with that.
He said that he ran some plays with his hand in the dirt. I didn't see it. I saw him playing off-ball linebacker every time, which is interesting. I mean, he has the size. There's no doubt he could do that. He can go sideline to sideline too. He's got the speed.
And
so
he looked like a linebacker.
He looked like a linebacker.
There,
he did.
It's not really what he did at Auburn.
I think you could also make the comparison to, let's say you've got a receiver that played outside in college, but in the NFL, they're so much more physical and big that they say, okay, we're going to move you inside, the slot receiver.
Sure.
At the Senior Bowl practice, they'll take a receiver that normally plays outside and move him inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same kind of scenario, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Still think at receiver, like, the skill set is the same.
Yeah, it's just route running different.
Yeah, rushing the passer and moving 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, like, that's not the
unless you bring him in the gap on a certain blitz package, you see what I'm saying, where you bring him free, and you know he can rush the passer and has good body control. Unless that's the bringing him from the inside in that certain gap in that certain lane. We'll see, though. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it will be.
You can only do that in a 3-4, I would think, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. Let us know what your thoughts on this type of content. Go ahead and like the video, and please subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.